Hey there, this is Tara from Wild Bird Farm. I garden here in Zone 5 in central Iowa. Today we're going to talk a bit about cover cropping, ways that you can use cover crops in your flower garden or on your flower farm. To my left here is a new bed of buckwheat. Now I had some hardy annuals in this space, and when they were done and gone, I cut the stems off at ground level, tarped the area for a couple weeks, and then came back through and hand sowed buckwheat. I've done this for several years now. It's worked really well for me. This just keeps a crop in the ground, keeps the soil with something living in it, keeps those microbes and microorganisms happy with those live roots. So these are pretty small. I'll get a close-up view here. I have some that I planted a couple weeks earlier behind me that'll kind of show you the difference in growth. But I really like buckwheat for summertime cover crops. It is very easy to terminate. After about 6 to 8 weeks, I just come through and flatten the stems. They break off at ground level. You could definitely mow them with a push lawnmower. And then I just leave that green matter sitting on the top of the soil. So this is adding a bit of green matter back into the ground, probably not quite as much as other cover crops. So if you're really wanting to bulk up the health of your soil, there might be something better out there. But for me, the seeds are easy to just hand sow. They're big, they'd be good for kids to help out with. It's a quick crop, it's quick to germinate, quick to get large enough, and it's just something good that I like to cycle through my bed. Okay, a closer view. Now you can see with me hand seeding, we get some clumps here. But this is going to fill in pretty nicely. I do need to come through, probably won't happen till the spring, and kind of redo the edges of these beds. It's a little shy of 3 feet now. We need to get it back to normal size. Over the years, the grass has kind of crept in a little bit on us. But you'll be amazed how quickly the buckwheat grows and gets to a flowering stage. Now over in here, I have my snapdragons, but I had bells of Ireland on this end, and I had some marigold self-sow. So I just left those there, but I came through and I sprinkled in a bit of buckwheat seed because I really wanted to cover this soil. This end of the bed, I am always pulling the grasses, and you can definitely see I need to get in there and pull again. But I'm just trying to keep something growing, especially in this area. Now you can see these seeds are bigger. The stems are quite petite though. They're very easy. That makes them very easy to terminate. I would say in another 3 weeks, maybe even less, this will have a white flower on it. And once those white flowers kind of show up, I'll leave it for a week or so, and then I generally terminate the crop. So I love to use this in the summer anywhere I have exposed soil. So we talked about this bed. Over here, I'm working on making a perennial row. I have Baptisia. Then I have some berry bushes that I just put in this spring, but they didn't quite fill out the bed. So I just sprinkled in some buckwheat. I believe I had bupleurum here earlier in the season, but again, not wanting to let the bed just sit, I decided to sow some buckwheat. All right, so now that we've had a close look at the buckwheat, let's head up to the porch. I want to show you the seed that I've bought that I am planning to use out in the annual field over winter here in Zone 5. I should mention that in past years, I have gotten my buckwheat seeds from Hudson Valley Seed Company. I went to buy cover crop this year. They didn't have all the varieties that I was looking for my winter cover. So this year I went with Peaceful Valley Farm and Garden Supply. I will mention when you're looking for cover crop, if you can buy it locally and not have it shipped to you, you're probably going to save some money because while the seed isn't super expensive, the shipping, it's pretty heavy seed, so the shipping can be pretty significant. So either look for reasonable shipping, a local company to you, or somewhere where you could get free shipping depending on what you buy. So I went ahead from Peaceful Valley and I got more buckwheat seed. This is organic. The organic happened to be cheaper than the non-organic. I would say these are about the size of maybe sweet peas, a little bit similar to that, but I'll have a good, let's see how many, this is 4 pounds. So have my stockpile of buckwheat back up. And then the rest in this box here is for my fall sowing for overwintering. The first, and I kind of bought these, let's see, I think I have 3 different kinds. I haven't even been to the bottom of this box. Yeah, 3 different kinds, and I kind of landed on these. I read up and got a lot of information on cover crop, especially the winter cover crop, from Jenny Love. She has a podcast. She also has blogs, and I believe that's where, I think I listened to a podcast and then I read some on her blog, if I remember right. But she talked a lot about the benefits of certain cover crops, and so that is kind of how I landed on these. Now, honestly, the rye, it's organic, cold hardy rye cereal is what it's called. This is 2 pounds. The rye was more expensive. It was actually double at least the other. So that is how I landed on less of this and more of the other. I plan to mix this all together, and then as we talked about before, I will just hand sow it out in my rows. But this is a good colder zone cover crop for winter months. We also have barley seed. This says bearded barley. This is 5 pounds. And then finally, I believe you say this triticale, Triticale, again, organic, and 5 pounds. So let's talk about a few of the details of each of these. Okay, I had to go grab my notes from when I did my research. So all 3 of these are going to help with biomass. That's just adding organic matter back into your soil. So they will have nice roots that you can leave in the soil, but then also a lot of green matter that when we cut this down in the spring, that's going to add biomass to your soil. So back at the beginning here, the rye is particularly good for clay soil. So that's going to break up that clay soil. We have decently good soil here, so I feel like I'm okay that I went with a little bit smaller amount when I do my mix. Let's see, the barley, super cold hardy, also great for the biomass. You can also cut the seed heads in the spring to use as a little bit of interest in your bouquets. So I'm excited for that. Something that I can use that's a little bit double duty is always a good thing. And then similarly, the triticale, also biomass, also super cold hardy, and again, just helps build that soil health. So being that we're in August, it isn't time to sow these yet. I just wanted to give you time to get your things sort of ordered and rounded up if this is something you're interested in. For the next couple weeks, if I have any open beds, I'll continue to sow my buckwheat for a warm season, quick turnaround cover crop. When it comes time to clear the beds in the fall, so I am thinking late September into October, as soon as dahlias are usually the last things out. Once I get all those things out of the field, I will go through, I'm going to mix these 3 together and I'll broadcast it likely by hand over my annual flower beds. Thinking these will sprout in the fall time when we still have some decent day length and a little bit of heat just to get them sprouted. And then since they are hardy grains, they're going to grow and survive throughout the winter, letting them continue to grow in early spring. And then once I need to start prepping those beds, again, these are my annual beds. So these aren't where the hardy annuals will be, but these these will be in the beds that I need to have ready to go in early May. So I think that timing is going to work pretty well here. But again, this is my first year for this. I am sure I will do a video when I'm actually sowing this to kind of show the process and what it looks like. I love experimenting in the garden. I hope you do too. Let me know below what you've been doing or what you plan to do that's new to you, that might just help improve your soil health. Until next time, everyone.